Assalamualaikum. My name Muhammad Afizullah bin Muhammad Rafi. Number matrix A23A2403. Today I would like to discuss about psychology bias in decision making. For introduction, especially highlight the prevalence of cognitive bias in decision making stemming from the use of heuristic or simplified information processing technique. These bias, such as overconfidence, hindsight bias, and confirmation bias, can lead to systematic error in judgment. The pioneering work of Kahneman and Tversky in the 1970s paved the way for intensive study on cognitive bias and their impact on decision making across various professional fields, including management, finance, medicine, and law. The discussion also touched on specific bias like acquiring bias, availability bias, and disposition effect. Illustration how this bias influence decision outcome in different contexts. The document outlined key bias, their definition, and their implication, emphasizing their role in shaping decision processing. Management is a process of achieve organization by effectively and efficiently directive activity through and with other people. Efficient involves doing tasks correctly and optimize output with minimal input. Addressing scarcity of resources like people, money, and equipment. On the other hand, effective focus on doing the right task to reach organization goal, while efficiency and effectiveness are distinct. They are interconnected, and good management strives for both. Poor management often result from a lack of attention to both efficiency and effectiveness, while successful management involves achievement goal with maximum. Point number one is a viewpoint about the psychological bias in decision making into this content. Number one is information overload and confirmation bias. In the in the era of information abundance, individuals face and dual challenge of coping with information overload and the cognitive ten- tendency of confirmation bias. While the vast amount of data provide diverse perspective, it's also overwhelmed individual, leading to the unconscious filtering of information that align with pre-existing belief. Decision makers, particularly sustainable malnutrition, ignore valuable insight from alternative viewpoint, succumbing to confirmation bias, reconstruction, distorted understanding, resulting in susceptible choice and missed opportunity to contract this. Cultivating awareness of buyer, embracing device, perspective seeking, theory, information and fostering open dialogue are crucial strategy for making well information decision in the complex and rapidly changing modern environment. Next is social media influence and bandwagon effect. Social media prevention influence significantly shape decision making with the bandwagon effect being a prominent psychological phenomenon in this digital landscape. The constant exposure to character constant character content and trend foster a susceptibility to conformity, driven by the desire to belong and the fear of missing out. Decision makers across various fields challenge as the pressure to align with popular sentiment may compromise independent choice. This conformity can lead to a lack of diversity in perspective, exacerbated by the echo chamber effect, the rapid dissemination of information on social media for the post-pushing decision makers to make hasty judgmental without thorough analysis. To counter this challenge, decision makers must prioritize independent thought, critical analysis, and actively seek diverse perspectives to make well-informed decisions that align with their objective and value amid the pervasive influence of social media. Next is acquiring and over reliance on initial information. In today's fast-paced information age, ignoring bias where individuals heavily rely on the first piece of information encountered pose a substantial risk to decision making. The rapid access to data amplify this bias, leading to premature judgment and potential flaw of decision. Decision makers may anchor decision around its initial information, hiding adaptability and overlooking subsequent data that contradict the anchor point. This psychological inertia can result to suboptimal outcome, especially in time-sensitive situations. To mitigate occurring bias, decision makers must consistently question initial anchor, seek diverse perspectives, and be open to adjusting judgmental based on news, information structure, decision-making process, and a deliberative approach can help counter the tendency to over-rely on the first place of information, enhance the equality of decision in the dynamic modern decision-making landscape. Next, algorithmic bias and technological influence. The rise of algorithms and artificial intelligence in decision-making introduced the concern of algorithmic bias in algorithms trained on biased data. They can unintentionality, perspective, and amplify societal prejudice, particularly in critical domains like finance and criminal justice. Decision makers must be aware of this potentially biased for ethical and legal reasons, as ignoring it may lead to unfair outcome and error above it. trust. Address algorithmic bias require transparency in algorithm development, ongoing monitoring, and auditing, as well as a diverse team to identify and rectify bias early in the process. Number three is relay example. In the realms of strategy decision making within organization, the impact of cognitive bias and heuristic has again attention. Strategic decision crucial for organization health are characteristic by complexity and ambiguity, early study and human rationality in, in decision makers. But research by Kahneman and Tversky challenges giving rise to the concept of bound rationality. Behavior strategy suggests that individual bias contribute to organization event. Heuristic and CB play to a role in influencing strategy choice, leading to suboptimal decision. Empirical evidence on this impact is scarce, with the most study relying an anecdote. Some bias, like framing effect and CEO overconfident, had seen quantitative research. Overconfident characterized by overprecision, and overplacement has been examined in T-Pos, stock market prediction, and CEO decision-making, revealing miscalibration and tendencies to overpay emerges, respectively. Understand and addressing the bias is crucial for improving strategy decision making in organization. For next is advantage and disadvantage. Advantage of psychology bias in decision making. Number one is efficiency and quick decision making. Efficient Efficiency and quick decision-making are integral aspects of human cognition, facilitated by psychological bias acting as a mental shortcut of heuristic. Examples include the availability heuristic, relying on readily available information, and the recognition heuristic based on recognizing familiar elements. This heuristic allows for swift judgmental conservance, cognitive resources, and navigating complexity in fast-paced environment. However, the efficiency gain through bias may lead to trade-offs such as higher error rate, exploitation, striking a balance. Strike a balance between efficiency and accurate outcome is crucial in professional setting awareness training and a blend of intuitive decision making with systematic analysis can enhance decision making skill. Next is disadvantage of psychological bias in decision making. Disadvantage is inaccurate decision outcome. Psychological bias acting as a cognitive shortcut often lead to inaccurate decision outcome by deviating from objectively reality. Bias such as a confirmation bias, where individual favor information aligning with pre-existing belief, and occurring bias. Giving disproportionate weight to initial individual overestimate their abilities, further accessible inaccuracy by hiding consideration of alternative viewpoint to address the challenge, cultivating awareness of cognitive tendencies, fostering open-minded, seeking diverse perspective, and implementing through decision-making process are essential. Acknowledging limitation and adaptive a critical objective approach enhance enhance the accuracy of judgment and choice. Lastly is conclusion. The document explores the impact of cognitive bias and decision making in professional domain such as law, management, finance, and medicine, focusing on bias like confirmation bias, occurring bias, overconfidence, and fear of missing out. It underscores the advantage, including efficiency and resources conservation, while acknowledging potential trade-off leading to inaccurate outcome and perpetuating inequality, emphasizing the importance of cultivating awareness. The document suggests strategies like seeking diverse perspectives and fostering humility to counteract bias using management as asset. As example, it stressed to the need for empowering evidence in understanding how bias affect strategy decision, advocating for a balanced approach in decision making across diverse environments. In conclusion, over this document advocate for conscious effort to mitigate bias and improve decision quality and fairness. Uh, do you have any question to ask?
Okay. How many types of bias as they based on the
Based on my searching, the type of bias have a five. First is a cognitive bias, prejudice, contextual bias, unconscious or implicit bias, statistical bias. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Let's start.